I'm kind of a Porsche freak more than anything else, and I don't think there was any car at that time that was faster.
The 962, in my mind, is iconic, forgiving, and historic. When we tested at Riverside, and I felt the power, the grip, the sound, the smell, the brakes were incredible. I was extremely lucky to be able to drive this car and absolutely fell in love with the way it drove. The car was so beautiful to drive, very quick, quicker than anything I had ever driven before. I mean, it would accelerate so fast it would feel like you're in a rocket ship.
The feeling of being out there in that 962 was just fabulous, wonderful. Those cars are really something to drive. Well, it's this amazing amount of G. It just sucks right on down and you go around corners at 160 miles an hour. My God almighty, you're stuck to the track, and if you ever lift, you're going to go to the next county.
I was extremely fortunate to have some great races in this car. 4 Daytona 24 Hours, 3 Sebrings, and the numerous vintage races in it. I got to race with Paul Newman in this car, Daytona, and that was just an experience unto itself. What an incredible guy.
One of my fondest memories of the Porsche were the times I would drive with my father in the endurance races.
The Hotchkis machine, another father-son team driving together in 5th position.
I would usually drive before he did, so I would dive into the pits, get out, and then there was another driver, not just another driver, but my dad. So we'd whisper a few things, or actually yell a few things at each other, and he would get in, belt in, drive off, and then I'd download with the crew about what happened. But the fact I was sharing with my dad was just a memory I will never forget.
And just below them in 5th spot, the Johns Hotchkis. John Jr. and John Sr., they're going to finish 5th here today.
The best finish I believe we had was a 3rd place, ahead of all the Andrettis. The Andrettis were in a 962, and all 3 Andrettis were in it, and we beat them. How about that?
The Hotchkis 962 is very special to me, especially when I was younger, because although I didn't get to drive it in the IMSA events, I got to watch my older brother and my father campaign it at racetracks around the country. And yes, I had to look through a chain link fence to watch it go around the racetrack, but I knew that one day, maybe I'd get a chance to drive it. Several years later, although it wasn't back in the day in the heat of the IMSA GTP series, I did get to drive it in a handful of historic races, and that's when I learned what a special car it is, how forgiving it is, the amazing sounds it makes, the grip it produces. I got to experience that, and I consider myself extremely lucky, and I'll never forget this car. When I first got behind the wheel of this car, I could just tell all the controls, the shifter, the steering wheel, everything felt just right, and it's because it was designed as an endurance car to go to Le Mans. For the time, this car was just head and tails above anything else as far as reliability and speed and the ground effects and everything really the technology that was in it. The first lap in this car in the Porsche 962 was just, for me, it was just earth-shattering. The car was so fast, so much faster than anything I'd driven before, but also very comfortable and very forgiving to drive. So obviously it was really quick. When you have over 700 horsepower and you put your foot on the throttle, it tells you, hey, we're going.
Porsche is always built, no matter where you are in racing, if you're just starting in racing, Porsche is by far the most forgiving car and the most reliable car. I remember getting in the car in Le Mans in the middle of the night, pouring rain, and getting strapped in with the 5 straps. You got the radio, you got the water, you've got a couple other things you have to do, and you finish before they're finishing fueling. And it's just at that moment the thought is, what in the world am I doing here? This is crazy. I don't do this for a living. And just then they drop the car down after the tires, and you leave. Well, I mean, you think this is the stupidest thing in the world. As you get through the gears, second and third gear, there's a little valve in your head that goes click, and now you're racing. And nothing comes in, but I mean, it's just absolute pure concentration. When you come in from an hour of that, you know, your adrenaline is so high that when you step out of the car, your feet don't touch the ground.